on the, because the contentious election here is a presidency.
It's a presidency.
Yeah, so if we are able to set aside a day and give it enough time and attention so that there is no room for this fiddling and the suspicions, and then you have enough people, then we also need to look at the possibility of the government funding the agents. They need to pay the agents for the candidates so that you create a fairly level, even playing field.
Yeah. All right, let's now go back to the politics of the weekend, and we'll start by what happened in Nandi, where when NASA officials or principals went yesterday, and the rally was disrupted by youth supporting Jubilee. First, I'd like you to hear your comment or your feedback about that.
Yeah, I think that is a very unfortunate happening because we've come from a place where Kenya has experienced post-election violence. We've had a fairly peaceful election in 2013. So going to this election, it will have been very important for our leaders, especially in areas that are perceived to be strongholds of one side, being able to demonstrate tolerance to other aspirants, especially those from opposition, or if government is going to on a pro-opposition zone. So my view is that earlier in the day, there was some circulation of Facebook and social media postings of aspirants who have been cleared by the IBC to, who have been cleared by their parties to run now in this election, trying to say that opposition is not welcome in Nandi. And because of that, we saw what happened. And this happened concurrently with an event that was attended by so many leaders from the Kalenjin Rift Valley, making a declaration that Rift Valley is going to vote 6-piece. So the room for tolerance is not really there. And I think the message that we want to pass to Kenyans is that even if you do not agree with a leader, then why go to the stadium? So the onus is on the electoral agencies, the IBC, and even the police and the director of prosecutions to make sure that action is taken as a deterrent against other things. Because now going forward, today, for example, if the government decides to take its campaign to probably an opposition zone, the same may happen. So the escalation will continue, and with all this profiling, we are risking going into election and stoking the embers of violence.
All right. But then is it a matter of the leaders, or is it also the supporters are just basically affiliated to, you know, the leaders that they know from quote-unquote their strongholds? Martin?
It is not the supporters. The supporters are normally mobilized. And that is primitive politics. Because, you know, you cannot solidly say that this is our stronghold. Because the dynamics are changing. And people are now asking questions. You know, the electorate is getting more informed and more enlightened. And the young voters, you know, unless you have a very clear message and clear programs for the youth, they will not just vote because they are voting tribe. The old generation is likely to vote tribe.
Yeah.
But the younger fellas are more interested in what they get out of political leadership. So sitting there and thinking that you can zone a particular place and tell the people that, you know, this is our zone, so nobody else is allowed here, it's not going to work. And two, he's talking about those guys who are sitting in Sosion. You know, the truth is the party primaries were shambolic across the country and across the parties, the whole place. So some of the fellas who stole the tickets, you know, in certain places, they think if you steal the ticket, you are as good as elected. Now, the person you thought you had locked out has managed to go to the ballot. And you see, for the first time in the history of this country, you have 4,950 independents. That's a number you cannot ignore. So, if you are confident that you are popular and you won the party primary, then why are you complaining? Meet the same guy, and if you annihilated him in the ballot, in the primaries, you will still beat him. But if you are scared, why are you panicking and thinking that you will now hang on the coattails of the president or the deputy or of Raila for you to get elected? It's not going to work. And two, look at Jubilee. They have a coalition arrangement with Kanu. So when you talk of voting 6-piece, where are you living Kanu? Where are you living Mashinani, who have a coalition agreement with them? Where are you living EFP? So it creates a problem, you know, and they need to be very careful. You see, Raila changed tact when they realized that trying to sideline the independents was going to cost them. Because the only way the opposition is going to have a very huge turnout in their strongholds, like Western, Nyanza, and all these other places, like Ukambani, is by having as many people as possible running for elective office. So the competition at times doesn't look very healthy. But you see, everybody has their support. So they are able to get as many of those people to turn out and vote. And as they turn out and vote, and they are all supporting the opposition candidate, then his tally will go up. So that's how you counter what has been the huge turnout that has been in the Jubilee strongholds.
Interesting. Charles?
Yeah, I think I'll also want to add something about what we saw yesterday in Nandi. And this one is part of the bigger picture of what campaigns have been, the characterization of our campaigns. In Kenya, we've seen that, apart from what we see mainly in the news, if you stay in a rally from morning up to evening, the way the speeches are done, they are very charged. So you want to agree that in as much as you want to lay blame on the leaders and tell them that probably you mobilized people and incited them against disrupting another person's rally, we also want to say that for the leaders who speak and they have a national platform, whenever they have these platforms, they take messages to the people which are very antagonistic against the other leaders, especially when it gets personal. When it's one leader addressing the other leader, and now it's an attack of personalities. So when that happens, it creates jitters and upsets even local sentiments. Because you look at these leaders, they command following. So when, for example, I want to use an example of probably when Jubilee is holding a rally and NASA is holding its rally. And when you look at the Jubilee rally, they are bashing probably Raila Odinga. And on the other side, somebody speaking in the NASA rally is bashing Uhuru Kenyatta, William Ruto, and other leaders in a way that upsets their people. So the people who support them. So when you come down to the areas they perceive, in Kenya, I think they're strongholds. You have to agree to that. The narrative of our politics is still ethnic, and the mobilization is still ethnic. So when you look at even what happened yesterday, it is when Isaac Ruto stood to speak, that is when things went to the dogs. Because now people felt this is a sellout. He's speaking in a very, in a way that is sending jitters.